You're listening to another episode of the Just Go Bike podcast, powered by RAGBRAI. This is the award-winning podcast where we are all about the culture of cycling, just for the fun of it. Your hosts are Murph from the Murphology podcast and AP from Parrot Talk. With tales from all over the nation, come for the bikes, stay for the fun, and leave with a smile. And now here is Murph.
Hey, that's me.
And AP.
Hey, that's me. Well, hey, Murph.
Hi, AP. How's it going?
Oh, it's fantastic. Another beautiful day to work for RAGBRAI.
That is true.
And the Just Go Bike podcast.
And the Just Go Bike podcast, powered by RAGBRAI.
Yeah.
I like your shirt.
Thank you. I like your shirt.
Yeah. These are like a kind of a blast from the past.
Yeah, these are a throwback to one of my very favorite Primal crew uniforms for RAGBRAI.
Mm-hmm.
They have these little gears on them. They're the crew blue that we always wear. And they're just a nice tech tee, a nice weight.
Yeah. I can kind of move and groove in them. But I won't move and groove.
Oh, come on.
This is a podcast. Very few people are looking.
Well, anyway. We were just talking before we started recording that I think I have several older shirts than this, but this may be the oldest one that we both have from being on the RAGBRAI crew together.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Because usually I'm biking and then it depends on what is happening at the end of the day, but a lot of times I'll just be still in my jersey and shorts.
Yeah,
because,
that's so true.
There's just too much going on.
You know, when you're Murph, you can't take a break from being Murph. So,
yes. Unless there's a Pork Tornadoes concert and your luggage gets left behind. But we don't want to get into that luggage gate.
Yeah, luggage gate is in the past.
2024.
That was so last year. Yeah. All right.
So how was your weekend?
It was awesome. I spent it just sort of recovering from the route announcement party and getting my stuff together and babying the sourdough starter that somebody gifted me.
That's right. We are now sourdough starter parents.
Yeah, that's right.
Different babies, but from the same. Actually, I don't know if there's anybody out there that is into baking with sourdough, but I got a sourdough starter kit when I was with my cousins I was at an orchard, Wilson's Orchard in, I don't remember the name of that town, maybe Solon, somewhere in Iowa. And it's like a little envelope of dry. And then there's like a pretty intense method of getting it started. But then once it's started, boom. I could be making bread every day if I wanted to.
Yeah, it's been pretty easy peasy so far. And I don't know if you've named your starter, but my starter's name is Raj, short for Roger.
Mine is Margie.
See? Oh, there you go.
So sometimes I call her Marge.
Yeah.
But I gave a little bit of a starter to you and to Ann Lowry here at RAGBRAI and also Erica Detterman. So, and then it was such a whirlwind, the route announcement weekend, but I had secretly told Ann that I was going to tell you guys that this sourdough starter has a very long history and that it came from my relatives who brought it from Ireland. I had this great, amazing story, and then it all went out the window because we were so busy that weekend. And so I'm confessing now that it's just a packet from Wilson's, but whatever.
I'm going to tell everybody it's an ancient Irish family sourdough starter.
Yeah. So my kitchen always smells delicious because every time I feed it, it just kind of, blossoms and smells so good. But enough about, is this a cooking show or is this a bike podcast?
I don't know if you've ever eaten my cooking. We better not make it into a cooking show.
Okay, well, we survived the RAGBRAI route announcement party and the Bike Expo, and I did the same thing. I kind of chilled out for a week, and then I went to Perry, Iowa for it's probably the 40-something annual Burr Ride, which stands for the Bike Ride to Rippey. It's actually a fundraiser for the community of Perry. Had a blast. Did not as many miles as I, wanted to do. It was so cold with the wind, but that's the whole point of the Burr Ride.
It's kind of in the name.
It is in the name. Sometimes when we do the Burr Ride, it'll be like in the negatives. Sometimes, occasionally, it'll be like in the 50s. So, I survived.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad it was cool to do, though, I'm sure. And cool to see the community out in real life outside of the expo. So,
yeah. And actually, several people came up to me and said, thank you for the podcast, or I listened to your podcast. And I was all like, do I know you or do you just listen to the podcast? So anyway.
Oh, well, you know him now.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Which segues to, back to the Iowa Bike Expo. Thank you to all the people that came and said hi and
Yeah, that was
talked
so cool.
to us. It was so cool.
Yeah. It was just so much fun to meet people and to see people that we have met along the way, either during last year's RAGBRAI or even prior. So it was really fun. I'll say I was going to give people a shout out, but actually they're going to be in the episode in which I already give them a shout out. So let's just save that for the episode.
Yeah. And so, typically one of us will walk around while we're at the expo and just talk to different vendors and such like that. It didn't happen this year because we had so many people coming to our booth. So we broadcasted from our booth, and anybody that came up, we would, they would tell us a fun story, and then we'd be like, do you want to be on the podcast? And they would.
Yeah,
so we do have to give a shout out to our Georgia friends.
Yes.
Jeanette and Patty. Those guys are, you'll hear about them and their story, but I think they had the time of their lives this past weekend.
I feel like we're going to be friends forever now because we've seen them so many times. And it always lights up my day when I see them walk into a room because I know who they are. And well, you'll hear from them. They're wonderful.
Yeah. So the point of this episode is kind of an expo recap, and we showcase a few businesses, also just a few fans, and their experience being at the Iowa Bike Expo. And we probably should give a thanks to, well, for sure we'll give a thanks to the Iowa Bicycle Coalition. They put on the event. So thank you, Luke Hoffman and all of his team. I'm sure that they worked very hard to make that event a success.
Yeah, it sure seemed like one to me. So it's been a fun tradition to have a booth there. I hope we continue that in the future.
Yeah. All right. Should we get to it?
Oh, wait. I want to do a real quick plug,
right.
real quick, for our Just Go Bike podcast merch. And if you are watching us on YouTube, you can see me demonstrating it. Yes, we have T-shirts for men and women, pre-order only. Mm-hmm. They feature the Just Go Bike logo on the front. The shirt is cardinal red. And the little Winky logo on the reverse.
And we did wear them at the Iowa Bike Expo. So if you saw any photographs of us, we were wearing them.
Yeah, so we'll be collecting orders for a little bit longer, and then we'll send them on their way. The other plug that we want to do is the Just Go Bike Podcast newsletter, because we just started that up. We've had one issue so far. The second issue will come out on February 15th. So keep an eye out for that, subscribers. And if you want to subscribe, head on over to our Facebook page, facebook.com/justgobike. And the post with the link to subscribe is pinned right to the top of our feed.
All right. Well, let's get to our interviews. And thanks, everyone.
Let's roll. Well, hi, Murph.
Hi, AP. Oh my gosh, here we are sitting next to each other, but not in Parrot Talk Studios.
No, as you can probably hear in the background, we are recording quote unquote live from the Iowa Bike Expo.
Yeah, and I'm a tiny bit nervous. There are cameras taking photos of us the entire time we're talking. Are we celebrities?
Well, no. Oh. But we will be, our picture will be places.
Yes, our picture will be places.
Yeah.
So we are at the Iowa Bike Expo, which I guess when you listeners are hearing this, it's already over because it took place on January 25th. Shout out to my brother. It's his birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday.
But I know he doesn't listen to this podcast, so I could say something bad about him, but I won't. But anyway, here at the Iowa Bike Expo, there's basically two massive expos in Iowa per year. This is the January one that's run by the Iowa Bicycle Coalition, and then of course the one in July.
Yes, the RAGBRAI Expo, which happens on the Saturday before we start pedaling RAGBRAI, and we'll find out where that town will be tonight. So by the time you're listening to this podcast, you'll probably know where that town is.
So wait, so that in theory the listeners will know before we know.
Yes,
because they are listening to it and it's already passed. And
that's a lot of thinking. I have been preparing for this all night.
I know, I'm sorry.
So, for example, last year, this expo was in Glenwood. So, it's the largest, hugest bike expo that I've ever seen.
Free.
Beside of Interbike. But it is awesome. There's bike vendors that sell actual bicycles. There's clothing vendors. There's decoration vendors, I would call them.
Yep. And from our view, we have a booth, and we have been interviewing people that come up and want to be interviewed. And so we can see actual people selling bikes. We can see Shimano is here with their sandals that everybody wears.
That is actually here at the Iowa Bike Expo and not at the RAGBRAI.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So where we are right now, here at the Iowa Bike Expo, that's what we're seeing. And also, I have a stack of events, which are so cool.
Yeah.
And I think in a future episode, we're going to talk a little bit more about them. But I wanted to point them out really quick.
Yeah.
Saturday, July 12th is a bike ride called Hillbilly Bike Ride.
Ooh.
And it's on the, I'm going to screw up the name, Chautauqua?
Chautauqua. Yeah.
Okay.
Nailed it.
But it is a newish bike ride. It's 40 some miles in one day, and there's like a Facebook page that you can look at. But the lady who is promoting it to us, it sounds so fun.
Yeah.
So AP and I might try.
It is one of my favorite bicycle trails.
Yeah.
It's sort of in my area of Des Moines.
Because it hits Bondurant and then what other towns?
Mingo and Baxter.
Yes,
so
that's
you're just
right.
sort of venturing northish on the Chautauqua Valley Trail, and it's just awesome.
It sounds really fun.
Yeah.
And then there's also one coming up in February that we got our picture taken with this creature that's on this postcard.
We met an abominable snowman today.
Yeah, and he was real, because when I was giving him a hug when we were getting photographed, he was very hot. He was steamy.
This is not the climate for a Yeti.
Exactly.
And I will say, he came right out of the woods because he had leaves on his butt.
He did have leaves on him, yeah. So it's called Shiver on the River, and it is sponsored by, I think it actually starts at a very popular bicycle bar in Des Moines called Captain Roy's.
Yes, and if listeners may recall that we have been to Captain Roy's Calling Bingo.
That's right. Yeah.
It's a fun place.
So this one's February 15th. There's like band. It looks like it's an all-day ride, and we'll put it in the show notes, a link if you happen to be in the Des Moines area and want to shiver your booty by the river.
I think that ride is appropriately named.
I do too, yeah. And then the other card I wanted to promote really quick would be more in my neighborhood. It's a gravel series, and it is called Core 4 Bike.
Oh, yeah. I heard a lot about that.
This is funny. A couple of years ago, I actually registered for it, and it was the year I was coming back from riding across America.
Oh.
And so I missed the actual date.
Oh.
But then I heard that it was a, level 10 epic gravel, walking, rivers, mud, and so maybe secretly I'm okay that I missed it. But
sounds like an adventure.
Yeah, but this year it's taking place in August, and they have all different levels, so we'll put that in the show notes too.
Yeah,
but
that one's a cool one.
Those are just a few of the things that we are seeing here at the Bike Expo, and if you're listening to this and you didn't make it, there's still so many things that happen in Iowa that are bike focused that will get you ready for RAGBRAI.
Yeah, and I'd pay attention to, obviously, our podcast. We'll be talking about all these events and more. But
for
also,
sure.
bikeiowa.com, they have all these events listed. So, and shout out to Scott Sumter and his crew who are here today as well.
Yeah, and those events take place in more than just the Des Moines area.
That's right.
Bikeiowa.com is your, besides RAGBRAI.com.
Well, yeah, but it's a great source for finding out about new rides, new cool things that are happening in the bike community.
Yes.
Yeah. So one other new thing that's happening in our community is that we have T-shirts for sale.
Oh, yes, we do. Just
Yeah.
Go Bike T-shirts. You can't see these. I'm sorry, listener, but we are wearing them right now.
We're wearing our beautiful cardinal red Just Go Bike T-shirts. Eye-catching. They have the little winky logo on the back. I think they're pretty good if I don't say so myself.
So if somebody wants to, they can't buy the shirt off of our backs because we are keeping them.
Yeah.
But tell everybody how they can buy one.
Well, you can go to the RAGBRAI web store, which is shop.ragbrai.com.
Okay.
And you can find it there. Or you can just go ahead to the Just Go Bike social media pages. We'll have it pinned there.
That's for sure. All right. Well, let's get to a few more interviews.
All right.
Well, hey, ladies, thanks for coming to the Just Go Bike booth. And you shared a pretty cool story about how far away you came from. So thank you for being on the podcast. Tell the listeners your name and where you're from.
Jeanette, and I'm from Fayetteville, Georgia.
Woo!
Patty Wheeler, Sharpsburg, Georgia.
Oh, my gosh. And this is a spoiler alert because I've already met you several times, and I feel like we're friends. But how cool is it? You came to Des Moines, Iowa from Georgia just for the Iowa Bike Expo and to find out the route tonight, right?
That's right.
Absolutely.
So, okay, ladies, I already know the answer to this too, but have you ever done RAGBRAI?
Yes, we have 6 times. This will be our 7th this year.
6 times. And I love how you two do RAGBRAI because it's not like you're on the sag wagon and it's not like you're in the comfort of an air-conditioned RV.
No.
So tell the listeners how you do RAGBRAI.
Well, we are big, if we can say this, we are big Pork Belly
Pork Belly
fans.
Ventures, yeah, they're a
Yes,
great charter.
they have taken care of us every year that we've been here, and just love them. Don't think we could do it without them. We pitch our own tents. We have lots of fun, and
We ride every mile we can ride because this one, you don't bypass a mile.
Well, I was going to say, you guys will even do, if there's gravel segments, you'll do
Love
that.
it.
If there's a century ride, you'll do that.
We love it.
I mean, you're
Yeah.
like, I'm here for the
We
biking.
want every mile of Iowa beautifulness.
Yay!
And last year it was absolutely stunning. Being able to do, praying, fingers crossed that RAGBRAI will do gravel every day.
Oh.
Absolutely stunning. A side of Iowa that you do not see from the road.
And we have a good track record with Mr. Matt Phippen as director with weather. I mean, he kind of socks it to us with steep and long and all that, but weather, he's been doing pretty well.
Yeah, it can't be beat. So we'll put in a note for Matt that you want gravel every day.
Yes.
So we'll let him know.
Thank
and,
you.
and keep on with that good weather.
Okay. All right. Great.
That's a necessity.
Yeah. So do you have a favorite memory of RAGBRAI that you'd like to share?
The century.
Well, my favorite day on RAGBRAI was 2022, and we were doing the mandatory century that everybody was not happy about. It was the best day ever. It was the flattest, best day with tailwinds, and you couldn't have asked for a better day. It was just phenomenal, and northern Iowa was so beautiful. And being an Iowa native from the southeast and seeing these other parts of the state has just been phenomenal.
And if I remember right, you are from the Burlington area, so
Yes.
you, in 2024, you got to end where you started your life.
We did, and we parked our car there and shuttled over. So when the day before we went on the shuttle, we got to drive around and look at all the places. It was just
I
wonderful.
got to see where she grew up.
Oh, that's so awesome. And you're native to the state of Georgia.
Native to the state of Georgia.
So how do you feel about Iowa?
Oh my gosh. First thing for all my other friends, Iowa is not flat. Let me tell you that right now.
Isn't
It's not
that
like
the
Georgia Hills. Not like Georgia Hills. But, you know, when she brought me up here, I'm still amazed. And I was so excited to come. Now I'm hoping, because I'm so curious to like what all those cornfields
Oh, yeah.
and
what they look-
soybean fields look like now
Yeah.
in the winter.
If you're somebody that has to go to the bathroom in a cornfield, it doesn't work in the winter. There is nothing there.
No good.
I mean, I'm just being honest. But well, ladies, thank you so much for taking the time to come visit us. Thanks for coming to Iowa in January, and I can't wait to see you again in July.
Well, we are so glad to be here. We love the podcast, and we talked about this last night. If you are planning to come to RAGBRAI and you do not listen to the Just Go Bike podcast, you are doing yourself a huge in-service because you will find out everything you ever need to know before you get here. And you need to listen and re-listen and re-listen, because that's what we do on the drive up here for 12 hours. We listen. We re-listen to Just Go Bike podcast.
What, somebody, AP, get your wallet out. We need to pay her for this, for this commercial. Anyway, thank you, Jeanette. Thank you, Patty, for being here.
Thank you so much.
Well, thanks for stopping by the Just Go Bike booth. Will you tell everybody your name and where you're from?
My name is Pete England. I live in Madrid, Iowa.
Madrid. That is right on the bike trail.
High Trestle Trail.
High Trestle Trail. Yeah.
Yep, right by the High Trestle Bridge.
Yeah, and before we pushed record, you were telling us briefly about what you do for a living, or at least what you do, and it sounds amazing. So will you tell us?
I am a professional trail builder. I own Legacy Trails.
Okay.
And I recently finished the Southwoods Park for City of West Des Moines, a mile of new mountain bike trail out there.
Wow.
And after being in business as a seasonal person, I'm going full-time this year with my trail business.
Well, that tells you a lot about the needs for bike trails, at least in the state of Iowa. I don't know if you go beyond Iowa, but...
I have not so far. I do trainings with the Student Conservation Association.
Oh, okay.
And so I've been Virginia and Idaho.
Oh, wow.
New Hampshire.
Wow. What do you think of the Bike Expo so far?
It's great. There's a lot of bike-related items here.
Yes.
It's very bikey.
Yes. And one more question about the bike trails. Like, I'm trying to imagine, so if I look at an open field, let's say, and it's just weeds, how do you come up with the vision of, I'm going to make a bump here and a curve here and a little jumpy thing here?
So my expertise has been in more hiking trails.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But I would say that following the contours and really finding out where water's going to go, and then finding where you're going to put in your turns. So if you're going to do mountain bike trail, having those bank turns and those rollers, and finding out what the contours and what the land is going to allow you to do so that that trail can shed water.
Well, I was going to say, you don't want the trail, the first big rainstorm, to get washed out.
Yes.
So that's why we need professionals like you instead of just me making a little trail. And
I just had a conversation with a kid who said he's been building for 2 years and on his own land with a rake and a shovel.
Oh my gosh.
And the stuff that he built 2 years ago was now highly eroded and unrideable.
And you're like, here's my card.
So I gave him my card.
Well, one more time, will you tell us your name and the name of your company, just in case people are curious?
My name is Pete Englund, and my company is Legacy Trails, LLC.
And do you do both trail building for businesses, towns, but also just for like the guy you mentioned?
Yep.
A personal private land?
In fact, I have a landowner in Adele this summer that I'll be building trail for.
Wow, I would love to go on a bike ride in Adele.
It's a hiking trail.
Oh, a hiking trail. I'll do that too, yeah. Well, thanks for stopping by.
No problem. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, AP. Dave Edwards from Primal just pulled up to the booth. Hi, Dave.
Hello, Murph. Hi, Murph.
It's so awesome to have you here. And just this morning, Matt Phippen did a Zwift ride. It was a virtual ride, but him, myself, and a few other people got to ride our bikes together, and we were wearing our brand new kits from Primal. And I got to tell you, they're pretty hot this year.
I love hearing that. We enjoy that feedback.
Yeah.
And good that you were able to do the Zwift.
Yes. Okay, so tell listeners, Primal, everyone who's done RAGBRAI and purchased a jersey will maybe see that label on their jersey. But will you tell us really quick, maybe where you're from and how Primal came to be?
I'm originally from Southern California and ended up in Denver eventually after being in Washington, D.C. and Hawaii for a few years, and started the company in 1992.
Whoa.
So it's been quite a few years. 33 years ago is when we started in my house, and things just kind of catapulted over the years to the point where we became a well-known brand, and but it's all centered around my love of cycling.
Oh, yeah.
And the people that cycle with me and that are out there in the world cycling, and it's just the best sport in the world.
And it's obvious when you have 20, 30,000 other people that come to Iowa every year, and now they're wearing your product as well.
It's pretty amazing to see that and to be on the road and see all the Primal logos and all the designs and everything that represents our staff's hard work over the years. It's truly a pleasure.
Yeah. And a really quick plug, as you know, I have the Murphology podcast, and I have my own jersey that's made by Primal. So if there are teams listening, can they get a jersey with their own logo, or do they have to buy the RAGBRAI jersey?
They can absolutely get a jersey with their logo.
What?
Thank you for that intro on that. Yeah. Hit us up.
Yeah, and Murph has just so happened to be wearing a Just Go Bike Primal shirt herself right this very minute.
You are looking amazing.
Well, thanks, Dave, for taking the time. Maybe after the route's announced tonight, we'll catch you again and see what you think of the route.
Look forward to it, Murph. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. All right. Well, the RAGBRAI Ride Director has stopped by the Just Go Bike booth. And hello, Matt Phippen.
Hello. Last time I was here, you said he's in the house.
In the house. So you are here to disclose the route right now?
You want to know what it is?
Yeah. All right, everyone. All these people are standing here
just waiting for me to drop it.
thinking that you're going to drop the route. But and AP and I talked about this earlier, but literally when people are listening to this episode, they will already know the route. So in theory, they know the route before I know the route because they're listening, but I don't right now, but I will then. And then it gets like into math, and I don't
chaos.
know. I don't understand
Absolute
it.
chaos.
Yeah. So what do you think about the Iowa Bike Expo today?
Oh, it's fantastic. It's I mean, you get to a point where you just can't walk. People are everywhere.
I know,
and
yeah.
You're you know me, like I'm having to walk at their pace. I'm trying to get around them. But no, it's fantastic. The weather's great today. Everybody's riding their bikes in, which is wonderful. But yeah, literally, it's a fantastic turnout. So hats off to the IBC and that team that did this. But yeah, it's great to see all the people here.
Well, and there were a couple of people that stopped by to say hello to us, and they praised you, Matt Phippen, because of all the good weather in the past several RAGBRAIs.
Sure.
And then they also gave you credit for today.
Oh, wow. Well, I'll take it.
I
I'll take
know.
it. I hope I don't burn all my matches today, and then July it's 1,000 degrees again.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know you can't guarantee anything in July, but the nice weather, I mean, can we maybe...
We'll take it.
Yeah,
We'll
let's take
absolutely
it. Yeah. So tonight's the big night where you, again, listeners will already know the route, but it's a huge party. But then what happens for you as the director?
Yeah, so we announced tonight, and then we have basically a week of getting stuff put back in the office and reorganized, and then Ann and myself are on the road. I think we have like 4 back-to-back weeks on the road. So campground scouting, we're looking at pavement in these overnight towns, but it's really our first check-in with these groups face-to-face.
Sure.
But yeah, it's truly the floodgates have opened up, and the travel season is upon us.
Because in theory, actually in fact, these towns are just finding out the route when we're all finding out the route. Maybe there's people in the background that you've been talking to, but so they don't have all their committees set up and everything. It's not like January 26th, boom, they know where the campgrounds are. They know, there's no way that can happen like that.
Yeah, we give them like time to breathe a little bit.
Yeah.
Once they announce, and obviously you see it when you announce it, the people that are there watching it are calling and texting and emailing the towns.
Sure.
And it's very overwhelming.
Yeah.
And we just said, hey, just breathe for the first week. We know that when we come visit the first time, you're not going to have all your pieces of the puzzle put together.
Sure.
Those will all come. But if you have, that core committee that'll be doing the majority of the, checking the boxes, if they're there, then that's a good start for us.
Yeah. So what you're saying is after the route's announced tonight, I should not be asking these towns like what their parking plan is.
No, stay away from them. Give them time to breathe.
Exactly.
We help them scout. We'll help them with the process. But that's one way to really overwhelm them.
Yeah.
Is,
most of them are volunteers.
Absolutely.
Just like, we all know when we have a volunteer gig, you're kind of come in it with full energy, but maybe you don't have all the pieces yet.
Yeah, when you get 50 phone calls back to back to back, it's a little overwhelming.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we get a chance to speak tonight after the route is announced. And thanks for all the hard work that you do year-round. And we're really looking forward to seeing where the route's this year.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. All right, we have another special guest that has stopped by the Just Go Bike booth, and this is a pretty important character. So will you tell the listeners your name and where you're from?
Hello, listeners. My name is Lindsay from St. Paul, Minnesota.
Okay, and what role are you playing in this event called the RAGBRAI Route Announcement Party?
Tonight, I will be in the role of on-stage MC for the route announcement at Vibrant Music Hall in Waukee.
Whoa! So when listeners actually hear this episode, it's already done. The route's been announced. They probably know who you are. They probably want your autograph. So what are you most excited about for tonight?
I am really excited for the RAGBRAI community to see this new venue. It's going to be awesome for the unveiling of the route and for the band that's going to play. And I think for socializing, there's 6 bars, so nobody will be thirsty.
Actually, there's 7 bars.
Okay, there's 7 bars, so nobody will be thirsty. And in general, I think it's just going to be a fantastic place to showcase the route for RAGBRAI 52.
For sure. Yeah. So then, this is happening in January. So now let's flash forward to July. Do you get to come back from Minnesota and be part of RAGBRAI?
I do. I will be serving as the SAG crew team lead once again this summer, and it's fun. I've been connecting with Joe, my dad, who's with me today, and some of our other drivers. So we're kind of gearing up for what will be happening for both route inspection and for the main ride.
And for any newbies out there, will you just give like maybe a 15-second description of what SAG service means?
Yeah, you bet. So SAG vehicles are 15-passenger vans with bike trailers on the back that are en route, and we're there to support you and pick you up if you have a breakdown. We hope that you don't. We hope that you're like keeping hydrated and wearing your sunscreen and like are ready to do the miles every day. But if you're not, sometimes we have a mechanical breakdown. Sometimes we have like a physical, like a knee or a back kind of an injury or a breakdown. Sometimes, let's be honest, sometimes we have emotional breakdowns. And SAG, if you're a registered rider, you've got your bike band on you and your bike, we'll pick you up and we'll get you to that bike mechanic or the overnight town so that you can rest up and be successful en route the next day.
Yeah, it really is an awesome service to have for the registered riders of RAGBRAI.
It's super fun. It's definitely worth that registration fee. And like, hey, if you're sagging, we assume you're not having your best day. But we're going to help kind of lighten the mood for you, take care of you, and get you in.
Yeah, I think for me, it's if I had to sag, which I never have yet, but if I did have to, it'd be a tie between whether or not I wanted to be in Kaz's van or Laura. So like
both great vans, to be honest.
Great choices.
Yeah.
We appreciate you stopping by the booth, and we're so excited to hear the announcement. But like I've said many times, the listeners already know the route because they're listening to this later. But
if you want a little bit more Kaz and to see him in person, you can go to the RAGBRAI YouTube page, and his teaser video as well as the announcement video will be there.
It's a lot of me, so if you don't like it, bad news.
Yeah. Oh, it's fantastic. It's legendary.
Legendary.
All right, Murph, there's one thing that we haven't talked about yet, and it's sort of obvious if you can see us in person.
Yes.
But maybe if you're listening on the podcast, you don't know something special about our outfits today.
Yes, we, wait, you mean our Just Go Bike shirts, our cool Viper glasses, or
our custom Crocs?
Our custom Crocs.
Yep.
I mean, we're not talking just Crocs that you buy when you go to the store, the Crocs store, which, by the way, remember when I found a Crocs store in the country of Panama and brought back a Jibbitz for you?
It's quite the achievement. And remember when I went to the Crocs store in the Mall of America and brought back a Jibbitz for you.
That's right.
But now...
Yes, go ahead with that.
Now, we have moved so far beyond that, it's hard to even comprehend. We have custom Crocs, and these we have had custom Crocs before, but these are our winter Crocs. Mm-hmm. So they're fleece lined, and they have custom Jibbitz with our faces on them.
With our faces. And the cool thing about custom Crocs, I mean, we're not sponsored by Crocs, but we're just excited about them. You design them yourself using the World Wide Web.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we gonna come up with next?
I mean, we spent the better part of an evening trying to figure out exactly what color, what pattern, what image.
So we ended up with a really cool pattern with bright blue, white, and black, and the Just Go Bike logo is on. And then, of course, the best part, you keep telling everyone.
Well, we have a little tiny picture of ourselves on the back.
Yes,
on the little strap on the back that either puts you in sport mode or comfort mode. Yeah.
And then one side actually has the word Murph, and then one side has the word or the initials AP.
Yeah.
And you keep telling people
that when I get in trouble, I'm going to tell people that I am the Murph side. And if I'm doing something good, then I'll tell them I'm AP. So,
yeah. All right. Whatever.
So shout out to our friend Jake Hayes from Crocs who helped us out with these shoes. He's the best.
Yes. And you can, anybody, not just, Just Go Bike podcast people, but anybody can go get custom Crocs.
That's right. And I believe you can do it right there on the Crocs website. But if you have any questions or if you need a pointer as to where to go to get your custom Crocs, you just let us know.
That's right.
Well, listeners, that is it for today. We want to thank you for tuning in to listen to the Just Go Bike podcast. If you would like to contact Murph and AP with a comment about the podcast, or maybe even you have a topic in mind, you can reach us at justgobikepodcast@gmail.com. Please follow us on Instagram and Facebook and watch our intros on YouTube. And don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast, especially if you're a fan. That is going to do it for this week. Until next time,
Just Go Bike!
Theme song by Ryan Steer. Logo by Suzanne Milosevic. Produced by Kathy Murphy. Social media by Andrea Parrott. Intro by Pumpkin. Until next time, just go bike.